Okay, let's be honest here. Every few days, somebody on your feed swears that GPT-6 is basically AGI, that it's dropping any minute, and that your job is next on the chopping block. And you genuinely can't tell what's real and what's just somebody farming for clicks. I completely get that clickbait fatigue. So, welcome back to AI Verdict, where we do the research so you don't have to. In this explainer, we're going to systematically separate the actual evidence from all that relentless internet hype.
And that brings us to the massive question at the center of the internet's current obsession. Is the next iteration going to be artificial general intelligence, meaning an AI that can basically match or beat a human across every single cognitive task? Okay, let's dive into this, because the foundational reality here is that, as of right now, OpenAI hasn't officially announced GPT-6 at all. Not once. So how in the world did the rumors get so incredibly loud?
Well, we've done the rigorous research for you, and here's our roadmap for tearing this down. Section 1, the actual GPT baseline. 2, the timeline of rumors. 3, pressure testing the claims. 4, the safety reality check. 5, what the skeptics say. And finally, 6, the AGI bottom line.
All right, starting off with Section 1, the actual GPT baseline and where things actually stand as of mid-2026.
We really need to set the floor before we touch any of the hype. As of mid-2026, the absolute newest model OpenAI has actually shipped is GPT 5.5, which, if you remember, was released back in April. Everything leading up to it, models 5.1 through 5.4, were just your standard, incremental updates. Each one got a little sharper on chat, a bit better at coding, but none of them carried that magical number 6 badge. And if you go check OpenAI's official channels, their blogs, the safety pages, their charters, there's absolute, complete silence regarding GPT-6. However, CEO Sam Altman has definitely been teasing what comes next. And whenever he discusses the future generation of AI, he consistently anchors his pitch to one specific, highly requested feature, and that's persistent memory. He notes that users desperately want an AI that remembers them, their specific preferences, past conversations, their coding styles, rather than feeling like the AI has complete amnesia every single time you open a new chat window. That is the one verified capability he keeps explicitly naming. Moving on to Section 2, the timeline of rumors, and exactly how these innocent comments just snowballed. Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds over the last year. In August 2025, GPT-5 ships. It had a slightly rocky rollout, and immediately, the press starts reporting that Altman is hinting the next model is already in the works. By December 2025, he teases new models for Q1 2026, again leaning really heavily on that memory feature. Then, in April 2026, the rumor mill absolutely goes into hyperdrive when Altman jokes about new agentic features. No dates, no spec sheets, just a joke. And finally, in June 2026, OpenAI files a confidential IPO. The internet immediately treated this as undeniable proof of an AGI breakthrough, because clearly, nothing says superintelligence quite like corporate financial paperwork, right?
All right, Section 3, pressure testing the claims. This is the official word versus the rumor mill.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive gap between what's documented and what's essentially engagement bait. Officially, OpenAI maintains a very cautious reality. They talk about iterative deployment, a long-term direction of travel toward AGI, and improved features. Meanwhile, the unverified rumor mill claims GPT-6 is going to feature a 2 million token context window, native multimodality, a flat 40% performance jump, and that it represents the literal last mile to AGI.
So let's methodically pressure test these 4 biggest claims. First up, persistent memory. Highly plausible. Building an AI with true persistent memory is a totally doable engineering challenge. And again, it's what Altman explicitly focuses on. Next, the 2 million token context window. This means the AI's short-term memory, like dropping dozens of whole books into the chat at once. Look, I am extremely skeptical here. Jumping from tens of thousands of tokens to millions, actually, scratch that, it's not just a software tweak. It requires a generational compute breakthrough that OpenAI simply has not demonstrated yet. Third, native agents and multimodality, meaning an AI that can see, hear, and autonomously perform tasks across different apps. Believable as a natural progression for sure, but truly autonomous agents right out of the gate are likely to be very brittle. Finally, massive training scale. Totally unverified. Cost, energy, and chip availability act as strict real-world engineering ceilings against these massive data center rumors.
Which brings us to Section 4, the safety reality check, and why a surprise AGI literally contradicts OpenAI's core philosophy.
And this brilliantly illustrates OpenAI's actual playbook. Their published stance on safety relies on iterative deployment. This means, Step 1, ship a model. Step 2,
Watch out it gets misused in the real world by millions of people. Step 3. Harden the next system based on that data. This cautious, empirical approach is deliberately the exact opposite of leaping straight to a fully autonomous, super-intelligent agent overnight. When you think of GPT-6, you really shouldn't picture an unchained AI. You should expect a model that ships step by step, with heavy constraints, rigorous content filters, and deep human-in-the-loop designs.
Section 5. What the skeptics say, because we absolutely have to balance the narrative here.
To understand where the skeptics are coming from, we first have to look at Sam Altman's boldest claim from a January 2026 blog post. He wrote, "The company is now confident it knows how to build AGI." Now that is a sweeping vision statement, no doubt. But notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't say GPT-6 is AGI. He's talking about a long-term direction of travel, not a sudden product announcement for the very next model.
So contrast Altman's optimism with sharp critics like Gary Marcus. Marcus forcefully argues that the AI field still suffers from decades-old foundational problems. He points out that we simply haven't cracked robust generalization, meaning the AI's ability to reliably handle brand-new situations outside of its training data. We haven't cracked common sense, reliable reasoning, or factual accuracy. These aren't just minor bugs you can patch, these are deep flaws like hallucinations that will very likely carry right into the architecture of GPT-6.
We also have Jan LeCun's perspective to add to the mix here. He harbors deep doubt that simply scaling up our current models will somehow magically lead to AGI. Given the severe, unglamorous constraints on hardware and energy we talked about earlier, a brute force approach to superintelligence just doesn't pencil out. And let's be totally honest about human nature for a second. If GPT-6 were actually AGI, OpenAI's marketing team would proudly and loudly brand it as exactly that, rather than simply pitching it as having improved features.
Finally, Section 6. The AGI bottom line. The stakes and our verdict.
But even if the immediate probability of AGI dropping right now is low, the stakes of getting this wrong are absolutely enormous. A true AGI would automate massive, complex sectors of cognitive labor overnight. Think medicine, law, consulting, coding. It would instantly trigger a massive international scramble over safety protocols and control. It would force theoretical discussions about universal basic income out of the university classroom and into urgent, immediate political action. And without incredibly strong global policy, it risks concentrating immense geopolitical power into the hands of whoever gets there first. The gravity of this is exactly why the careful people are staying careful.
So the crucial point is our final AI verdict. Based strictly on the evidence, the realistic probability of GPT-6 being true AGI is very low. It generously sits somewhere in the 10 to 20% range. Now, will it be a bigger, more capable model? Absolutely. It'll feature better memory and those usual cycle-over-cycle gains we've come to expect, but it will not quietly become human-level across every domain the moment it launches.
As you navigate the news over the coming months, I really encourage you to maintain a very healthy skepticism for any flashy thumbnail claiming AGI is already here. If you appreciate having these claims separated from the hype and grounded in actual evidence, make sure to hit subscribe. We're going to keep doing the research for you. But right now, I want to pass the question over to you. What are your personal GPT-6 release predictions, and what are your AGI odds? Let's argue it out down in the comments. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.